Hello, beautiful, beautiful fam, and welcome back to Unapologetically Wild with Katie Sontag. Now, today I'm feeling a little bit gooey. Why I want to speak into this is because I feel like we don't talk about this. I feel like we don't talk about our menstrual cycle and how it can affect us in day to day life. Now, for those of you who obviously get this every month. Some people will be regular, some people won't be. That's completely up to many different factors. It could be to do with your sport, it could be to do with, if you just have regular or irregular periods. Like that's totally can be normal for some people, can be their whole life, can be, due to many different reasons. And why I want to talk into this is because today, I'll start with yesterday. So I used to get really bad period pain, and to the point where it would be like so bad that I'd be curled up in a ball and I wouldn't really move. And I haven't had that kind of pain in a really long time. I went on, contraceptive, all the things to help with the pain, and it did for a little while until I realized that it was actually really detrimental to my mental health because I would be really foggy and I would struggle to see clearly. And this was a problem, right? Because then I was like, if I'm not seeing clearly because I'm taking these meds, they may be helping with the pain, but are they actually helping me in life in general? So I did a little experiment where I came off them for a bit to see how it felt and then went back on them. And I realized that it actually wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth, although I had pain, it wasn't worth being on these drugs because my head was so unclear and I would just struggle to think straight. And I was like, I don't want that in my life. And so I ended up going off them and I would just use pain medication. And if I got it early enough, 99% of the time, it was perfectly fine. And so what I learned from this was I also then became, dependent on pain medication. So I was like, when I got my period, of course, not in general, because I hated taking pain medication. So it was only when I got my period, I would just take a couple and then that would kind of get me through the rough starting point of my period. And then that would be it. I haven't had that kind of pain in a really long time, to the point where I don't even take pain meds. And I used a lot of energy healing and, being with my body and just resting to allow myself to actually clear what's been going on in my womb space. And so all the trauma, all the pieces that I've been through, I've done massive clearings and honorings of the pain and all of the beautiful things. So I haven't had a lot of pain in a really long time. I still need to rest and I still actually don't plan a lot on my period, but I started to release a lot of things that were going on. And what I realized was, though, sometimes the more I released, sometimes my periods would get worse because it was actually purifying my body and taking all the gunk out of my body. So it's a bit of a wild ride when you start looking at the womb space, when you've been through trauma, when you're allowing it to move through your body, because this is a really big piece, right? My body's been holding this for a really, really long time. And so to release it, sometimes that's when it happens, is during your period if you're not conscious and aware of all the things. And that's okay if you prepare yourself for that. And then yesterday, it hit me for the first time as hard as it did when I was younger. And to the point where, I went to take pain meds, but because I had nothing in my stomach, they came up and I was unable, like I was able to walk, but it felt really funny and I was like sweating profusely. It was horrible, right? And that's what used to happen to me all the time. And I literally screamed out to God and asked God to help me. I was like, please help me. I am in pain. I can't obviously take meds because they've now, they've ended up in the sink. And I'm sitting on the toilet. Like there's just so much going on, right? And I'm like, I need you to help me. And it was wild because, of course, I then laid on the couch and I curled up and I went to sleep for an hour and a half and I woke up feeling 1,000 times better. Still obviously had my period and still like a little bit of numbness down there, but it was just not the same as the immense pain that was coursing through me. And it's actually wild how naturally our bodies can heal us, like ourselves, right? We don't actually need all these external things to help us. And I think it's such a really good thing to remember, because a lot of the time we go straight to, and I'm guilty, I do it as well, to the external fix, the quick fix, right? Because that's what that would have been for me, the Panadol, the ibuprofen. And I'm not saying people shouldn't use those things. If you really need it, please do use it. But actually all I needed was to rest and slow down and have my body do nothing. And for the whole day, I did nothing. And although there were moments where I had to catch myself in guilt and shame for not taking Piper for a walk or not getting up and moving very much, or, you know, when it was time to eat, like, do I eat? What do I eat? So I don't throw it up. Because obviously from the morning, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to eat something, and then I don't want to end up back in the bathroom. And so obviously you start with toast, so you learn as a kid. And it's wild to think that we learn all these things when we're younger too, from our family, and in a natural way of letting our body recalibrate and actually heal through its own way of healing. Because our body is phenomenal, especially as women. I mean, literally in our womb space, you create a baby. I've got friends right now creating babies in their womb space, right? And you birth life. So we can heal anything. We can actually honor and look after ourselves in so many different ways that we don't do it. And I think this is something I've never really spoken into as much, because one, that's a whole nother shedding that's happening, and I'm going to go into that in a second, of me right now, is shedding the old things that I didn't really talk about. Because, you know, people would be like, oh, you've got to take meds, or you've got to go get on the pill, or you've got to do these things. Yet they don't actually talk about the fact that that doesn't serve every woman. Like, for the cycle of our period, some of us don't even know the whole cycle. Some of us don't even track it. Some of us don't even keep with it. And I wasn't doing that for such a long time until I realized that it was really, really important. And just for my own knowledge and understanding of when this happens and why this time is different, like, I get to actually look back and be curious, and what have I been moving through? I mean, so much recently, right? I turned 33 last week, and my whole system is navigating a transition from full-time defense to part-time defense, from taking on my business full-time. And to let yourself go through that and not have to keep pushing and doing the thing is a really big deal, especially when my whole thing, and something that I'm learning deeper and deeper so I can hold women even deeper in it for the retreat that's coming up, is literally reconnecting with yourself and coming back to honoring rest. And that's a really big deal, because a lot of us don't do that. A lot of us don't actually honor rest, and we don't actually speak into what rest can make us feel. You know, like, it's amazing how much society can show us that, you know, if we don't rest, you know, we won't get what we want. If we don't rest, we won't actually be able to, receive abundance and magic, which is wild, right? Because you look around every day and you look in nature, and there's abundance and magic everywhere all the time, like all around us. And when we start to sit with it, you can see as the trees grow, or you can see as the flowers blossom, and it takes time and nourishment and care. And you know, it is about coming back to them. They're all about themselves. They're not fucking looking around at everyone else being like, oh, they bloomed before me. Oh, this happened, you know, oh, that tree looks bigger today and I'm not getting anywhere. You know, it's quite funny. And yet we know that nature is the place where, when we come back to nature, we actually get to feel at peace, and we get to feel the softness and the nurturing, the love and the care. Yet we're so conditioned to being in a rat race and doing everything so fast and having to get the shit done. And if we don't, then God forbid, no one will pay for what we're doing, or no one will want to do it. Or if you don't have all the things sorted out, then you pretty much, your life is a waste, which is bullshit, because no one has shit figured out. Even the people who have everything in their life are still navigating, you know, different parts of different things. And I think this is a really big piece. Like, you could have the house, the marriage, the kids, the insert whatever else you want, the white picket fucking fence. But I'm sure it's not all perfect. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's funny. A lot of us are so happy to have the outside see, and social media is a big thing for this, right? To seem like everything's together and to seem like we've got shit sorted. And to be honest, we don't. No one does. Like, if people are being honest with themselves, you don't have everything you want in your life because you wouldn't, yeah, be striving, like, because everyone seems to be striving for more. You get the goal and then it's like, oh, what's the next goal? And it's like totally okay to be like that. I think there's no shame in that either. However, what about just being in the now, even for a few days? And this is why the retreat's so important to me, because not only do I get to be in nature and, with all the beautiful women and supportive and loved and held in the fact that I facilitate that for others, but the more I rest and the more I'm completely myself and I actually honor my voice and all of the pieces of who I am, fuck, the better I feel. Like, it's like almost letting go of all the shit because, like, look, people are going to love you. People are going to hate you. You're going to be in situations that are going to test you. You're going to be in situations that are going to be super amazing, right? We get all of this, but polarity is life. Like, we're going to have parts that are going to challenge us. We're going to have beautiful moments. And if we don't have one, then we can't experience the other. And so I find this so interesting in slowing down because we actually have to be with ourselves, which is a really big deal and can be really quite hard. And also we have to look at what do we want? Like, truly, the depths of who we are. Like, what do we truly want? Who are we? If we take everything away in our life, who are we? And that's a really hard question to answer. And I think it's beautiful because we just get to always come back to that. Like, this can change. You don't have to be the same person 10 years ago that you are today. That would be ridiculous. And you may have different thoughts and feelings on things that you did now than yesterday, Like, you can always change that. And I think it's so funny because I really got reminded of how much we can put out on social media and it can seem like, everything's together or, having a point of view and that gets us somewhere, right? Because, of course, polarity of life. People are going to like you because of your point of view and people are going to hate you because of your point of view. And that's totally okay. But it was funny. I was watching this reel of this lady sharing how she didn't like how this other lady was like, put this guy up. I didn't actually watch her reel, so it's kind of hard for me to fully explain it. But this is what I perceived, right? So she put up this thing and she was saying how, it's horrible that there's people out there that are putting up, other people's reels, because this is what people are doing, right? They're putting up like a snippet of someone else's video and then they're saying how, they're wrong or all the shit or whatever. And they're bagging them out, right? So they're having a point of view on someone else's point of view, right? So this is just like a fun cycle. And what made me laugh about the fact that she had talked about that and how she hated it, right? So that's her opinion, which is cool. And I didn't watch the original video, so I have no idea what was actually said. But it cracked me up because she then tagged that lady, right? So I was like, okay, cool that you didn't actually put her up in your video, but you've actually still shamed her and tagged her. And like, this is the whole point, right? We get to put out our points of view. And like, this is marketing at its fucking finest. This is business at its finest. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But it just cracks me up, especially in the coaching industry, because I'm like, most of the people that are at the top have had pretty hectic opinions, right? And some people hate them and some people love them to death, right? And I have a beautiful coach who I absolutely love, but I know lots of people that hate her. I met her in person, and that's a very different thing to meeting somebody online. And I think it's really interesting because I also know other coaches that are, I've met in person and they haven't been the embodiment. Yet I've met coaches that are the embodiment and they might be the most hated people on this earth. And so I just think it's really funny. And I think it's funny that something's just come up in front of me right now and I don't know what it is on my screen, which is quite wild. I don't know whether to let it load or not so I know what's going on. I think it's really funny because it came up and I was like, had this urge to be like, you're doing the same thing, just not actually like, it's funny what just came up was Slack. It's a system I use to communicate, which is going into the next point, which I'm not surprised about. But I literally laughed and was like, you're doing the same thing. You're just not actually putting her video up. But you're actually tagging her so people can, one, go and watch it. And you're saying how, you don't know how people follow her. You don't know how people are friends with her because of what she's done. And you love men and all of these things, which is great. And I'm so happy for you. But I was like, you've just tagged her. So then people will either, who have that same opinion will either come and follow you. Smart. See, smart marketing. Or 222 on the timer as well. That's so funny. Or what they're going to do is they're going to hate you and then they're going to follow you anyway. So I was like, smart marketing, there's a thing about communication, and this is why I'm really interested in it, because I'm like, so many people have opinions about other people and it's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's human nature. We all have opinions. Like, I have an opinion about this woman, right? I'm clearly voicing it right now. And so I just think it's really funny, though. I think it's funny that we all do it all the time. We're always having opinions. We're always saying how we feel. And sometimes actually we're not. And this week, my pinky finger, anyone who's watching, I'm not going to show you how it's broken because anyway, but this pinky on my right side, so my masculine side, it bent back a few weeks ago. And I was like, can you please keep it on to the ladies in the nail salon? And they're like, yeah, it's fine. And so I was like, cool. Anyway, now today it's decided to rip off. And I find it really funny because it's the right side and the pinky is to do with communication and all these other pieces, right? Because of course I looked it up because that's who I am. And I was like, this is a new level for me, because watching that video and having an opinion, normally I wouldn't say anything, right? I'd normally just sit in my box and I wouldn't say anything and I wouldn't communicate and I wouldn't have a clear message to come out of that. I would just sort of let it go. And I was like, you know what? I fucking have something to say. And that's okay, because so does everyone. And everyone has the right to speak. Everyone has the right to communicate. Everyone has the right to be clear on what they actually want to talk about. And this is the whole point of having a podcast, right? And this is what I've noticed is like there's more density clearing and more clearing from my space for me to go deeper into this, right? Because, I wouldn't have spoken about my period and all that and how that actually gets to be cleared in the womb space, and I get to sit with what that means. And it's hilarious that so many things are popping up right now on my screen, which would never happen during a podcast. So I think what we get to do here is the stronger we step into our voice and we have opinions, obviously this is why people grow, right? Because you see on social media, the people that have fucking huge opinions and have big things have polarity in numbers. So they have they have their numbers grow massively. And you can see this even in a reel that I put out of me dancing in my PDI uniform. God forbid that actually pissed a lot of people off, but it gave me a lot of new followers. So, and civvies that I spoke to were like, I don't get it. Because they're not in the military, right? They don't get that, God forbid, we talk about or have anything up that's in promotion of the military or ourselves and have a voice. And that post was about me having a voice as a woman, right? And stepping even deeper into it. That's why it triggered so many people, mainly men. And so it just is so interesting that this broke today. This fingernail, it's like only holding on by a very small thread, and that's why I'm like not going to show you it come up, but everything underneath has healed it. So it's almost like a metaphor where it's like everything I needed to allow myself to heal, to have a voice, to speak even louder, to say the fucking thing, to call out the fact that this woman is doing the same thing that someone else did to someone else, which was funny, just in a different way, is really big. And there's obviously a lot moving because I can feel my body it's releasing, right? It's like, and it's still in the gooiness of a period. So I'm still releasing while we're talking about this. So there'll be a lot more to come. But what it is it's like, how do we get to honor our voice even deeper? And we're in the season where that is exactly what we're called to do. Leo, and I don't know if you know much about astrology. I kind of touch on it in here, but I don't know enough to give you full downloads of it all. But maybe one day. Maybe not. Maybe that's not my calling. But what it is it's kind of interesting because it's about owning your voice. It's about clearing anything that's no longer serving you in the way of, what do you need to say? What are you ready to say? Like for me, it just makes me laugh in the coaching industry how there's so many people out there who are amazing humans, yet they, may be seen in not a great way, maybe loved as well, but equally loved. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think this is the thing with polarity is they're loved and hated equally. There's other people out there that I'm like, what the actual fuck? Or that, say they're the embodiment or, and like there has been pieces where everyone has to take time to embody things, right? So a lot of people go out there and they coach on things that maybe they've just learned or maybe they've, just coming into, which is totally okay because let's be real, we all come from a place where we don't know when we're fully going to embody it. Like we get to keep talking about it, teaching about it, all of these things, right? And I think that's part of the learning phase. I feel like every time you learn a new skill, you have to go through the phase where you have to learn the skill, right? And so for a lot of coaching, that is what people are doing. They're generally learning as they're going. And I actually don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it's funny how there's other people that have done it for years and they're like, oh, they're not embodied in it. And you're like, cool, I get that. And it's like, you also had to go through a lot to get embodied to where you are. And some of you may not be embodied because everyone throws that fucking word around like everyone's embodied. How do you actually know if you're embodied? What is that actual moment? I feel like we get to live our life and we get to teach as we go. And there will be things that we have done, for example, being a PT coach, like being in army and being a PT. I'm excellent at motivating and giving lessons, right? Doing programming, I'm good, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert at it. And I have been doing it for a while, but there's people out there that are better than me. Am I able to do it and give programs? Fucking absolutely. Is it my fucking greatest skill? Probably not. And so it's kind of interesting in coaching too, because there's so many people that learn how to coach, that do more coaching, maybe get an accreditation, do all the things, which I think is a great idea, right? I'm all about that. I'm all about learning and doing that and being, if you want to call it embodied, then, the more you do it, the better you get at it, right? But no coach is fucking good when they first start. Like, it's like everything. And, maybe you move into a space where you get into a really good relationship and you're like, fuck, I'm going to be a relationship coach. Great. At the start, you're probably going to be shit at it. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to be a money coach. Like, for example, I'm going through a lot of money shit right now. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not embodied to teach money. I don't believe. And though, when people bring me money questions and I answer from my experience, they can take or leave whatever they want from that, right? But I'm not here to tell them what to do. And I also don't believe that's what coaching is about. I believe coaching is about sharing your experience of things so that people can actually be held in moving forward. And though a lot of people know what they need inside of them, you're there to mirror back and to actually ask them the right question. And so I think we got lost a lot in coaching because a lot of people are like, I have to know everything. Like, cool story, bro. But for example, you could be in a relationship, you could become a relationship coach, and then guess what? You could no longer be in that relationship. Does that mean you can't teach relationships? You could be someone who literally thinks you embody everything and all of a sudden one part of your life goes different. And then does that mean you can't teach everything anymore? I just think it's really interesting to look at that and be like, what does embodiment mean? Like, what are you actually here to do? And this is also when it comes to learning any new skill, right? So when you're leaving the Defence Force and when you're transitioning, you learn a lot of skills. You learn a lot of abilities to understand things. And there's still shit I'm not going to understand because I'm not fully transitioned yet, right? So there's still going to be pieces dropping for me consistently, even when I transition. But I can hold the place where I'm at. And I can hold that. I can also sit with someone who's transitioned and be with them in that moment and honor them for what they're feeling. And I can also say that I don't know what that feels like and be brutally honest about that. Because this is the other piece. If you don't know and you have not experienced that, just be honest about it. It makes me laugh when people think they're the expert because we can't be. We can't have experienced everything. We don't understand everything. We haven't lived a full life. By the time you get there, that's when they become elders, right? When you're in this world where, we used to have this in a family system where it was like, you would live your life and then you'd become an elder and you'd go talk to the elder about what they'd experienced through their whole life. We're coaching from a place where we're only in where we're in, right? I don't fucking know what it's like to have children. I don't have children. I'm not going to not work with women who have children just because I don't have children, because there are skills that I have that they want to learn from me, but it's not about having kids. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes we get so stuck in the minute details, even in the embodiment or in this piece or in that piece, you know, like, are we good enough to teach that? Are we at the right spot? Fuck, give it a go and see what happens. Because you'll know if it doesn't work for you. You'll know if it's not the right thing for you. Also, when it comes to transitioning, you'll know what you like want to go to. And you know what? You may go there and it may be the complete wrong thing. But do you know what it might be? The step to get you to where you've got to go next. These are the pieces, right? You can have a plan in your head. And I was watching this the other day on this show, and I fucking love The Good Witch. If you haven't seen that TV show, I'm obsessed. And she does a speech at the end of her schooling career about how it's not actually to do with, like, we can all have a plan and think we know where our life's going to go and try and control it and be all the pieces, right? Same with, we can have a plan with business. And you know what's so funny? Anything in our life could change and our whole plan could be totally thrown off the grid, right? But if you allow yourself to be guided to the next thing, and let's say it's like me and I went to uni and I failed uni, right? In psychology and sociology. I tried to do a double degree. Absolutely stupid. And now I think back, I'm like, wow. But do you know what it taught me? I fucking knew I loved psychology. I knew I loved learning about the brain. So then I found NLP. And so I started learning about the brain. But then I realized that actually wasn't my passion. And although I love having the knowledge and understanding of the brain, I fucking love the body. So what do you think I did? I went and learned about the body. And now I don't have all the skills and tools every coach has, right? Because this is what makes us all different and perfect for the right people to come along. You know, there's people out there that are like, oh, I'm a breathwork facilitator. And I love that because I think breathwork's amazing. And you also can work with the breath and not be a breathwork facilitator and not run breathwork sessions, right? You can be a body facilitator and breathe and get people in their body using the breath. Like, you don't have to be fucking qualified to do that. You don't actually have to be qualified to do a lot of things. You can be, and you can go and seek higher learning, and that is great, right? And if you want to call yourself a breathwork facilitator, I would go and do a breathwork course. Also, you just don't do breathwork. If you want someone to come in and you don't want to do that course, bring them in. Collaboration's a really big thing, and I think that's also beautiful. And we also get to honor that other people have those skills, right? And so when you go out and you lead yourself to the next thing, nothing is going to get you there. Nothing's going to be the thing that makes you perfect in business, in life, in your next job, in all of the pieces. It might get you the job if you need something specific. And though maybe they just want you and they'll teach you it. I feel like a lot of the time we worry too much about the box and we keep putting ourselves in it. And we worry about the fact that people are going to get angry at us if we don't do the right thing to stay in the box. Guess what? There's no fucking right thing. There's no particular box. People are creating them in their own worlds all the fucking time. And it makes me laugh because I'm like, if you want to keep putting yourself in a box, do it. It's so okay. Because guess what? We all do it. It's actually really human. And if you want to get out of the box, get out of the box. Let yourself out. You can be free and you can take yourself wherever you want to go. You can even just take a step in a different direction and maybe that opens up something that you never thought you would do before. The opportunities are endless. But, pardon me, just moving some energy. Take the step. Do the thing. Say the thing. Even if it's to someone around you, right? This is the big thing that's come up with my pinky finger. Is like, it's about communicating, maybe to the people around me. Maybe it's to you on this podcast right now. Maybe it's about me just being like, fuck it all. Do you know what I mean? Fuck it all. Because sometimes I think we need to do that. Sometimes I think we need to be like, fuck it all. I'm going to say the thing no matter what happens, right? And really, it's beautiful that people do online. It's beautiful that people express themselves and say the thing and, you know, allow themselves to be open and honest about how they feel and what they're going through and express and know that. And you'll know who, if you come into coaching, if it's something that you want to do, who the right person to hold you is, because they'll have experienced what you've been through. That's the whole point of coaching. We're all very different. We've all experienced different things. That's what makes us unique and makes this industry so cool. And also, some people will love it. Some people will hate it. That's the beauty of social media. And so I want you to communicate to someone. Maybe you haven't said the thing. Maybe you're scared to. Maybe you don't know what to say. Maybe it's just about you being more unfiltered, because it's not you becoming a new you, right? I really want to actually hone this in. It's not about you becoming a new you. It's about you just being less perfect. Get rid of the good girl. Get rid of the perfectionist, right? Let go of those pieces. Be all of who you are, because all of this is just undoing what we've been told to be and do and all of these things, right? This is literally what we're doing right now. We're unraveling, we're honoring what is our truth. And as we grow and as we develop, we're going to have different truths, right? So say your truth today. If you disagree with it in 2 years, who gives a fuck? Just say your truth then. It doesn't matter. But this is why when people get older, a lot of the time they're really blunt and brutal, because for so many years they haven't been speaking their truth and honoring what they actually want to say. And I think it's really special, because it means that finally they feel the point where they actually are like, you know what, fuck you guys, I'm going to say exactly what I want to say, and I don't actually give a fuck what you think about it. And they might care a little bit, but they'll say it anyway. So I think we get to learn from that. And I think we also get to honor that as we grow. The older we get, the more we say, the more we're going to fucking not care about what other people think of us. The more we're going to say the shit that people are going to look at us and be like, did you just fucking say that? And we get to honor that. And I think it's a really beautiful rite of passage. And I think we get to be with people that are going to allow us to say the fucking thing and honor us in that. Even if we hate what you say. You know what I mean? Like, if you hate what I'm saying right now, that's cool. Because I think this is the piece too. It's permission for you to say the thing, even if people don't fucking like it. Because the more you hold it in, and this is what I've learned from my whole life, the more you hold in that all the shit that you want to say, the more angry you get, the more frustrated you are, the more fucking you just want to rage and, you know, you really want to let it out, but you become really resentful. And it's really horrible. And you harness all that inside you and you don't let it out and you don't communicate and you don't say the thing. You actually are creating a really horrible place inside, and that's not good for you. And you don't deserve that. They don't deserve peace because and then you deserve to be resentful and feeling horrendous inside and not feeling like you say the thing, or the anxiety, all the pieces that come up around that. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve to put yourself through that. You deserve to say the thing, and if that means that that person can't take it or they don't want to stay, or that is you actually aligning with what your truth is, and you're actually getting rid of the shit that no longer serves you. It's letting go. It's allowing yourself to be fully, authentically you and no longer holding on to all the crap that you fucking want to say. And I'm not saying go out there and just fucking spew things at people. I mean, some people actually might need to do that because they've never done it before. But I'm saying say the thing. When they say something to you don't like, you say, I don't like that. Like, tell them. Because a lot of people don't also know what you're thinking. Nobody fucking knows what you're thinking. Nobody can read minds, as much as we'd love to be superheroes and do that. You need to actually communicate it. And you need to let it out, because if you keep holding it in, it's going to cause you grief, and that's not fair on you or anyone else around you that doesn't understand how you feel and aren't able to actually fix it and maybe make it better. So I want you to honor your truth. Say the fucking thing to the person, to fucking social media, on a podcast. I don't care. At your workplace, say the fucking thing. Because it's amazing how much better you'll feel when you fucking say the thing and you don't hold back. And actually, how much it'll serve you. So I want you to really think about that. what is the thing I need to communicate and let out and let go so that I can move forward and actually live in full authenticity. Ooh, even if it makes me feel vulnerable. I love you. I hope you have the most incredible day and you are completely unapologetically you all day, every day. Bye, guys.